Hello and welcome back to another tutorial on Power Pivot. This is Trisha Jagtiani, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to perform the related table DAX function and what is the difference between the related function and the related table DAX functions. To understand how to use the related function, you can go through my previous tutorial on the related function as well. In this, I'm going to take a quickly look at what is the difference between the both. The related function can only work when you have a relation between both the tables. While it happens the same with the related table, however, the difference is that in the related table, it will only work through many to one relationship, but it will not work through one to many relationship. So it will work only one side of the table. It will not work on both the sides. But with related table, it can work on both the sides. Let's look at how does that work. Also, the second difference is that in the related function, you can get it works exactly like the VLOOKUP function where you can get the data from another table. But with related table, you can get the full table from another, or rather all the data from another table and paste it into the current table. Let's see how does that work so you will understand what I'm talking about. Looking at my database first, I'm going to show you the details that I have here. One sheet contains all the athletes detail where I have the athlete ID, their name, the region that they belong to, that is their abbreviations of those region, gender and the discipline ID. While I have another data which has the abbreviation, the country code and the country which is given to me. Now, what is common between the two is definitely the region or the country code that is given, that is the abbreviation, and here it is called as abbreviation. I have already created the relationship between the two where the abbreviation is one to many. Now let's see what happens in the related function. What if I want to identify or get only the names of the country into my new table that I have here, which is my athlete ID table or the athlete details table. What I'll do is I'll just do an equal to and I'll say related, open the bracket. As soon as you do that, it automatically asks, look at the syntax, it asks you for a column name. It does not give you more options. It only gives you the option to give a table name or the column name. So what happens is when you are asked for a column name, you are only allowed to give one column name from where it will pick the data and give you the result. So what I'm going to do is it is looking for the related data, which is in our case is the another table which is called as your table 2, and from table 2 what do I want? I need the country, so which is named as country 2. I'm going to close the bracket and press enter. Here I will get only the data where the name matches with the country code or the abbreviations, and you can see that all the names of the country is now shown according to what is the abbreviation given in the another table. As simple as that. Now this was about how we have done the related table, or sorry, the related function. What is the difference now comes in the related table? If I want to first understand if the related table works in the another table, let's just look at, because here I have done one to many and that is something that it will not work. So let's see if it works here. So if you go on to the related table, you will see that in this option, it doesn't give you options for the table names. But if you do the same thing in the table 1, because the relationship is one to many, so in the many table, it will definitely work. To understand what is one to many, you can just go back to the diagram view. Also, you can go through my previous tutorials to understand that, but you can see that the 1 is your table 2 and table 1 is your many. Table 1 is where your athlete ID is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going back to my athlete ID and we will see what happens there. In my athlete ID table, I can easily do a related, and when I do related, I am allowed to enter the table name as well. Just looking at it again, you can see that it gives you options to add the table names as well. But if you do the same thing with the table 2, because it is one to many, there it does not work. That's the issue with your related table. Sorry, related option. I'm just going to do related from the bracket. See, it doesn't give you that option. So that means it is not picking up the relation between the two tables. This is not the issue with your related table. If you have a connection, or if you have already established a relationship, you can easily do the related table in any of the tables. So let's see what is the use of a related table. Let's say if I want to use a related table here, what happens? Let's just see.
Congratulations on completing completing the business dashboard using Excel course. Ready to elevate your career? Join our postgraduate certificate in data science and AI and gain exclusive benefits like a complimentary Python programming bootcamp, 7+ case studies, dedicated student support, and access to our job opportunities portal. Don't miss out on this chance to transform your career. Invest in yourself today and join our program. Click on the link in the description to enroll now and take the next step in your career journey.
When I do a related table, open the bracket, you can see that it gives you the related table option. Here it is asking you for a table in the syntax. It doesn't ask you for a column. So what happens is when you give the related table, it will give you the full table data into this list. It will not give you half of it, or just one part of it. So it will give you the full data from that table. So if I pick up the table 1 and try to close the bracket and press enter, what happens it will give you an error. Why? Because of course in the table 1 there are a lot of information that is given. The full table cannot be picked up. Even if you try to add the NOC country region, because that is what we are trying to relate to. If you try doing that also, it is automatically picking up as an error. So it is not going to give you the data. Why? Because related table picks up the full table data into that. Now, even if you look at NOC country region, if you are looking for data for NOC country region, there is not single NOC country region. There is multiple data for each NOC country region. For example, if you see USA, there is 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see on the single screen right now 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So on single screen you can see 11 USAs which is given, but in your data, in one single cell, you will definitely not be able to see all the 11 numbers showing here. And that's the reason your related table will not work in such a scenario. If you just want to get the data or extract the data, you will use the related function. Now, what is the related table then used for? Related table can be used to identify, maybe let's say, adding it with any other function. For example, let's say I am trying to identify the count of that particular data. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the count rows, which will tell me how many rows has that particular data. So what I'm going to do is count rows related table. It's just kind of COUNTIF where you're trying to COUNTIF, but in this case you're doing you're counting the number of rows that contains a particular data using another table. So here what I'm going to do is, let's take the table name because I have to give the table here. So I'm going to give the table. So I'll just say table 1, which is where I've linked it to. Close the bracket for my related table. Close the bracket for my count rows and press enter, and you can see that it is automatically picking up the number where there is a duplication of that number. So these ones which you can see right now, the Albania must have come only once in that database and there is no duplication. But if you look at this, there are other places where there is a number that is thrown. We will try and repeat that just for you to understand how that is done. What I did was I just went on to one of the new columns where I wanted to add it, and I just started with, like, you can add a name also. So I'm not doing it right now. Add a name to the column, I mean. So when I'm doing this, I'm going to do a related table for now, and I will say I need to take, because I have to give the table. So I'm going to give the table, close the bracket, but it will throw an error. So what I need to do is I need to count the number of rows that contains that particular data. So I need to check what is going wrong here. So count rows, the spelling was wrong. So count rows, related table, table 1, and in the end I'll close the bracket for count rows, and here you can see that it will count the number of rows that has the duplicate values. These must not be there at all in the data. Even if it is occurring one time, it automatically picks up in your data. But it just works like your COUNTIF function, where you're trying to get the number of data or number of rows that contains that particular data which you have used in your relationship. Understand one thing, it will only count the number of data which you have used in your relationship. If you're trying to find out any other data, that will not work, because that is not something that you're looking for. So you have to be very, very careful as to what you're trying to look in your database so that you know what you're trying to count. Now, of course, you can go back and create your pivot table from this. So depending on what you really want to do with this, this, and in your pivot table you will have the new information that is available in your table 1. What was the new information that was available? Of course, we didn't give the name to that, but this is your calculated columns, because that, what does the calculated column had? It had the number of duplicate values that was occurring in that data. Of course, this is something which is only giving you the count, which you can easily do it with pivot table, but yeah, you can use your related table to do further calculations as to if you want to do further calculations on your pivot table using this particular countif function. You can easily do that by using the related table. So now you understand what is the difference between the related and the related table. Of course, the related table works with both the databases. If you want to just check once more, if you go on to the table 1, because I have used in the table 2, let me try, and if it works with the table 1 also, I'll go on to the table 1 and try to perform the related table there. And here I will use, you look at that, you can always use the table 2 here, and you can close the bracket. Of course, it is going to throw the error because of the reason we already know. Okay, there's some already working, but yes, you can, what you can do is now you can also do the count rows in this column and use. So you must have seen already that when you were trying to do the related table here, it automatically gives you option to add your table 2 also. So in related, you cannot use it from one to many, but you can use it from many to one. But in the related table function, you can use it either way. So it becomes easier for you to use the related table function if you're looking for to perform a countif function or a sumif function. Also, you can be done with the related table. Hope you found this tutorial useful. You will be learning more of such DAX functions in the next tutorial. So please keep watching for more.